Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Picardian.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to our show. We've got a great one. A person of interest that we met at Woodwire and Volts is joining us on the show. And you've definitely heard us bring up a few of this person's pedals. Person, who are you?
Well, greetings. Hello, this is Hawker. How are you doing today?
All right. Hawker Shaich. Yes? Did I get that right?
I guess I don't know if I put that together that way before. Generally, I'm just Hawker.
Okay, just Hawker. Yes. Well, Hawker...
secret other persona.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Dr. No.
The two sides of Hawker, you know? Yeah. Which one are you talking to?
Yes. So, Hawker, you're calling from...
I am in beautiful Ash Vegas, North Carolina, up here in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
All right. Which... Lucky for you, that coincides with the name of your pedal company. Was that an accident?
Yeah, it kind of works out that way. You know? I mean, nobody knows what Leicester is, so we just called it Asheville instead.
Yes. So Hawker owns Asheville Music Tools. You are the founder of said tools and the purveyor, I assume.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Chief cook and bottle washer, as they all say.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a great show for everybody. We've got 4 pedals on our table that are pretty remarkable.
Yep.
And we're going to get into all the amazing details about these. If you are trying to find out what we're going to be talking about and want to look at them and check them out, Hawker, where can people go to see the things that you build?
Well, it sounds like that would be AshevilleMusicTools.com, of course.
Perfect.
I like that.
And are you on the Instagram or anything?
On the Instagram, well, you know, we have to have all the socials these days, right? So we've got the Instagrams and we've got the Facebooks and we've even got some of the YouTubes and whatever else you can find me on. We have a lot going on the gear page as well.
Nice. Excellent. We've got a few announcements we're going to go through, everybody. And if Tony, do you have anything in particular?
I do not have any announcements this week.
Well, I have an announcement. Since we have the last thing you heard from us was our rundown of all the great things that we're doing for our 10th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that I want to share is that the mugs are on their way out. Yes, very, very happy about that. And then we're going to continue to roll things out for over the next many weeks.
Millennia.
We kind of
next millennia.
Yeah, we kind of try to coincide it with the 10. So it's like we've got 10 giveaways. Roughly.
Is it 10 ladies dancing on the 12th day of Christmas?
9 ladies milking.
9 lords a leaping.
9 lords a leaping.
10 ladies dancing.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
And then we're going to be rolling that out over the next 10 weeks. So.
They're excellent.
Yes.
I like that idea. It all ties together.
Yes, I'm very happy
Comes
about
full
that.
circle, as they say.
It do.
What else you got?
Well, that's really the big thing. I'm just.
Have you gotten any entries
Huh?
for the Dr. No suggestion?
We have not set that up yet. I need to talk to Dr. No a little bit more about that.
Okay.
But that's a big one, and that's coming. So we have a few things that we got to take care of from our end. You know, just
tying up the loose ends.
Yes, to get all these things rolling out. But don't worry, never fear. That will be. You'll hear plenty about it.
Okay.
Well, without further ado, as we always do on the show, let's do the what's going on in our music world this week. Now, this is going to be stuff that, for those who may not be as familiar, these are things that are just, little happenings that are going on in our music world, and now that can be directly guitar related. It can also be maybe music related, because there's a lot of awesome things that guitar stuff does that makes music. So
yeah,
we bring that into play, and Tony's going to lead us off, and then we're going to hear from Hawker.
All right. Well, this week, actually, last time we got together, we were talking about a Amazon find that both Todd and I purchased just to see what a $108 guitar looks like.
Yep.
Well, they came in.
Yeah.
And while they're not an $1,000 guitar,
no,
they're not a bad instrument.
No.
So this one, just to refresh, is a IYV RK something 300.
Yeah.
So it's some weird hybrid, kind of a cross between a Rickenbacker and maybe an Ibanez, and
I don't know. It's
its own beast.
It is, yeah.
But it does come with Rickenbacker appointments.
It is reminiscent.
Yes, extremely reminiscent.
Yes.
So mine came in. I think Todd's came in the same day.
Yep.
And a couple of issues. As with a lot of these copies, if you want to call that, or replicas or whatever, they don't always get everything quite right.
Right.
And in the case of...
Like the upside-down Bigsby on my Union Jack.
Exactly. That's and I think they did that on purpose. But one of the issues that a lot of these things have is they're building them like Les Pauls, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to make a true Rickenbacker copy, the neck and the fretboard sit much higher off the top of the body.
Yes.
Which
almost like a violin.
Yes, it does sit up high, almost like an arch top.
Hawker, do you have a Rick?
No, I don't. I think I've mostly been in kind of the Les Paul. I was a Strat player for a long time, and I've converted to the twin humbucker world these
days. Good man.
Can't argue with that.
My daily guitar is, believe it or not, just a Paul Reed PSR.
Okay, PRS.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice. So anyhow, by not having the neck sit up high enough or the fretboard set high enough, it changes the geometry of the guitar considerably.
It does. Yeah.
And in this case, they actually had to route the pickups so that they would sink down further.
Yes.
The bridge itself sits pretty low. Normally it sits up much higher and gives you a little better break angle on the, a little more tension.
Yeah.
But all things considered, it's not a bad instrument.
No,
I mean,
for $100, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly, and that's really how you have to look at it. So with mine, as I do with a lot of these types of projects, change the tuning machines. Did you
already do that?
Yeah, I already did that.
Oh, I didn't change that yet.
Yeah, you'll want
to.
to.
They came with locking tuners.
Well,
ish.
And of course, I know a guy that makes pick guards, so I did something a little special with that. And I found, they just came in today, so I'm going to pop them in probably tomorrow or the next day. They're basically P90s that are in a Rickenbacker style casing.
Yeah.
They drop right in, and it's really cool because they're Alnico 5 bar magnets underneath. And I mean, it basically looks like a shrunken down P90. So I'm kind of curious to see how these things are going to sound.
Yeah.
And they weren't terribly, I think they were $50 for the pair.
Wow.
And, there's some other things that I'm going to do to it just to tweak it. I had to, level the frets. They were off a bit, and it needs a new nut. So that's on the
nut was a little bit high.
It's
a little bit high.
It's not well done.
I mean, when it comes down to it, you're paying for the wood.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's more than $100 worth of parts.
Oh, yeah.
On the thing as it
and
sits.
If you don't go like, it won't be your number one, but it's a fun, it's a fun thing to have.
So it's kind of
customize and just,
So it's what's strange about it. It looks more like a 620, 660, which is the cresting wave guitar. Think Tom Petty.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's wider. So it's somewhere in between like a 330, 360 and a 620, 660 in terms of the size of the body. But it's a semi-hollow, and it's got the cat's eye F hole on it. So it is truly an interesting twist we'll just call it a Rickenbacker that never existed.
Yeah. To me, it is sort of like a bass inspired semi-hollow guitar body.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, I saw that like Harley Benton has a Ricky style bass that has a similar shaped body as this. So yeah, this is probably scaled down just a hair. But anyhow, for $100, and I'll probably end up putting, I don't know, 175 into it with parts and stuff like that. It's going to be a decent guitar. I mean, It already is. I have it playing pretty well right now. So I'm again curious to see what these new pickups are going to sound like. But
that's cool. That's fun.
That's what I did.
That's neat. Now, Hawker, how about yourself? What's going on in your music world this week?
What's going on in my music world this week? Well, not a lot in the music world, quite frankly, other than, of course, in the Asheville Music Tools scene. We're working on some new products here and getting ready to get some new ones out the door. But I have been a little weak in the music world lately. I've got a new toy. It's my retirement RV, and I've been putting solar panels in it this week.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Music's had to take a back seat for a couple of weeks. Well, I didn't know that when you bought an RV, none of the electrical system was usable, or maybe I'm just treating RVs like I do my guitar pedals. Everything's got to be perfect and awfully complicated.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Now, was that specifically for a really cool turntable and vinyl collection to take with you on your road, or?
Oh boy, not so much. But it actually is a music focus because my partner and I love doing music festivals and various deep in the woods folk music festivals and rock and roll festivals. And so
nice.
Just getting a little too old to tent camp, and this is our way to go out and enjoy. We took it down to Swanee Music Park, which is earlier this year as a test run. It's really one of those top venues. Put it up there with Alpine Valley and Red Rocks, and Swanee Music Park down in Florida is absolutely phenomenal place to see music. And so we went down there and saw some shows, and that's kind of getting ready for our music world, I guess, in that way. And
that's great.
Yeah. Now, is that in like the Floribama area?
The Floribama. It's in the Swanee, down by the Swanee River, as they say. And it's a music park down there. They used to do, if you've heard of Halloween, I believe it's how it's pronounced. It's one of their bigger events. And I used to do an event called Wani that was started by the Allman Brothers, actually. And that was an event. But it's kind of an upscale music venue, and it's just an absolutely gorgeous place to sit there amongst the Live Oak, Florida, amongst the big Spanish moss trees. And their main amphitheater is down in the trees with hammocks, and you see the lasers bouncing off the clouds and the Spanish moss, and just absolutely phenomenal place to see music. And
outstanding.
So that's one of my partner and I's favorite places to go.
You're painting a lovely picture right there.
Oh, it's one of those top venues in the country, and if you like going to music venues and top-notch outdoor venues, it's got to be on a bucket list.
Okay, so what is of all the times you've been there, what is the most memorable show that comes to your mind?
Oh boy, that's really hard to say. I see a lot of jam bands, but I like the older jam bands, and I definitely remember some moments of things. I was a touring Deadhead as a kid, so watching Phil Lesh and those types of people on the stage there. I love Warren Haynes, does a phenomenal show there. But, I saw a band called, was it Pigeons Playing Ping Pong, I think. And I remember,
I love that.
Wow.
if you know that band. And I remember just sitting amongst the Spanish moss in the outdoor theater and watching the lasers bounce off the trees and laying back, and it was fun. They played a lot of 80s like 8-bit arcade game music, and it was a whole lot of fun.
That's cool. Well,
excellent. What about you, Todd? What's going on in your music world this week?
Well, so we announced the DIY pedal thing with Hello Sailor.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I started gathering all the parts and all the bits and everything, and then I sent out hey, what configuration would you like for your knobs and blah blah blah. Just trying to, and that was a mistake. Because I got a little too far.
You got a committee.
No, because each of them picked their own.
Oh, okay.
Of the three, but and then I was like, woohoo, let's go do it. I started drilling, and then I'm like, wait a minute. and I did mess one of them up, and then the other two were they just kind of wrecked on the they were white, and like if it hit anything, it just got marred up and scratched and all this stuff, and I was like, I need to do better by these guys. I'm not going to send them like a heap of like, well, okay, well, kind of did it right, you know. So
you're doing the drilling before the painting, huh?
Well, they were painted.
I mean, the drilling after the painting. Excuse me.
Yes, I was doing the drilling after the painting, exactly, and because I got them in just as blanks. Yes, I know, for shame. But this one, I decided to like, okay, I'm gonna do this one right, and I said, there's one pedal configuration here, so that where the knobs go, where the foot switch goes, where the LED goes, everybody gets the same one. Sorry, guys, you don't know that yet, but. That's what's happening.
You do. So long as it's black.
Yeah, exactly. And then Joe sent out a couple water slide decals, you know, to be like his pedals that he does. Mm-hmm. And I said, cool. Now you get to pick your water slide decal and everything, and they were really excited about that. And I looked at him like, they gotta do better than this. It needs to feel like one of Joe's pedals. And I said, okay, I can't do this like I would do it. I have to do it like Joe would do it. So I went to the art store, and I didn't think about what goes with what. I'm like, these colors look pretty cool. Because Joe approaches everything in absolute slapdash fashion when it comes to what it looks like and everything. He doesn't waste brain cells on that. He just goes like, it's gonna be cool, I'm picking this one. So I did that, and I started doing a couple paint schemes, and now I'm happy with them, and so now we're gonna be sending them off, and these guys will get to sit with Joe and build out this pedal.
Nice.
Pretty fun.
I like that.
Yes. So I had a painting shop weekend. Yes. So there. And this was the other thing to be careful of. If you guys are doing this, there's a I can't remember what the brand is, but if you go to like the art store to get it, like Michael's or whatever, we're all familiar with like Krylon and everything. And Krylon's got a pretty tight pattern. You know, you can control it really well. Well, the ones that I got are like made for graffiti or something, because it's got like this huge cone.
Oh,
so I was like, and I was like, it went all over everything. Very hard to control. But then I was pot committed, and I'm like, no, I can't let this defeat me.
Nice.
Yeah. So just be mindful of check the spray pattern before you invest in some paint.
Next time, get lacquer.
Yeah. Well, here's the dumb thing. I even have like an airbrush that I got for the other stuff that I'm like working on, and I completely forgot about that. I was just all in let's go. You know, I needed to slow. I need somebody to tell me to slow down, Todd.
Slow down, Todd.
Thanks, Tony. Where were you? Yeah.
I was watching you on video.
The Harbor Freight paint, the Harbor Freight powder coat paint, and do them in your toaster oven stage yet? There, huh?
Yes, that's yeah. Now, do you don't do that?
No, I have many talents, and painting is not one of them. So I'm thankful to have some wonderful companies in North Carolina that can powder coat and print and drill, and that's one less thing for me to worry about.
Yeah. Well, they do a heck of a job. These are some pretty awesome pedals in front of us. We'll get into it. So anyways, yes, lots of fun there.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now,
indeed.
when these people build their pedals and they complete them and successfully have a wonderful working pedal,
yes,
how would they connect that to their existing pedal board if they have one?
Well, I'm sure they do, and I'm sure that they have what we're about to tell you because they've been listening to the show for a long time, and they probably have Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Excellent idea.
Because they are fantastic.
Yep.
They have a very, very low footprint.
Yes.
And
they're affordable.
They're very affordable. They ship fast, and they got all kinds of sizes and everything.
Yes.
So you can probably fit a whole other pedal on your board.
At least one.
Yeah. We stand behind that. Asterisks. So what you need to do is go over there, get a whole bunch of them, get some different sizes, get some different configurations, put them in your cart.
Load it up.
Hit purchase. Don't worry. That's when you get the coupon code box. And you're going to put what in, Tony?
I think you would put in the guitar knobs, all lowercase, all one word.
And what was going to happen?
You'll instantly save 15%.
Bueno. So thank you to Tour Year for sponsoring our Four on the Floor.
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 3. Four on the floor. All right. Hawker from Asheville Music Tools. What is your Four on the Floor?
Well, I think people might be surprised to find out that I'm kind of a basic pedal user. So I've got, the classic DS9 pedal, of course, and my Crybaby, and that's the foundation. And then I add from there. And lately I've been adding a lot on the bottom. So I've got an Electro Harmonix B9 to get some of those organ tones on the bottom end. And if that doesn't work, I use a Pog. And so that, along with our sister company pedals, is really my main pedal board these days.
Okay, so the Ibanez TS9, the famed Tube Screamer. When did you get that?
Oh, boy. Well, I was in a band in the early 90s. We used to tour around here, and that was kind of the heart of our sound. We basically had that, and a Crybaby was the band. And so I bought that somewhere probably in 91, 92, something like that, and it's been on my board ever since.
Well,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep. Indeed.
It works.
Now, and just out of curiosity, what is your main amp?
My main amp, that kind of moves around right now. Right now, I just got a Blues Junior Limited. It's the new version 4 amp, and that's kind of my day-to-day amp right now.
Okay. And let's see. So next was the Crybaby, and I'm assuming it's basically the standard Crybaby.
It's a standard Crybaby. Teenage me in 1980 whatever walked into my favorite Pete's Music, I believe it was called, in Osseo, Minnesota, and bought that Crybaby. And it's had a few pots changed and cleaned out, and I've modded it with a power supply, or with a different power connector. But it's the same Crybaby that's been on my board since I was a high school kid.
Wow!
And that's a Dunlop Crybaby, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever taking the back off to pull all the hair and dirt out of that thing? Or?
Oh yeah, many times. And it's had
like a vacuum cleaner.
Need a hazmat suit.
Yeah, well, when you have pets. But yeah, it's had its share of fader lube squirted in the pots and everything else. And I don't know how many 9-volt cables I've had to resolder on that thing over the years.
Yeah.
It's still alive and kicking.
There you go. And then number 3.
The Electro Harmonix B9 probably get a little.
The B9,
that's right, the B9, because you might use the Pog occasionally. So how did you land on the B9?
I am a sucker for a Hammond B3 and Leslie, and I love those Deep Purple sounds, and that's kind of where I went. It's the easiest way. It's one of the first pedals that could do that actually tracked, didn't frustrate me in the tracking, and so that's kind of where I've landed for those bottom end sounds.
Okay. Now, you said you occasionally will use a Pog. Did I hear that correctly?
Sure. Well, the B9 is great for bottom end and those organ sounds, but sometimes it's just a little too complicated, and you just want something filling out the top or the bottom, or getting a little resonance in there, cleanly tracking, and that's when I'll just switch over to the Pog instead. And if I want church tones, I might be more likely to use the Pog.
Yes, indeed.
With our Asheville Music Tools ACV1, of course.
What are you talking about? Okay, and then the last one.
Oh, I think we just did did we do 4 now?
It was the 9 and the Pog.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, just making sure.
We could keep on going, but
well, give us one more.
Well, of course, our sister company is Electronic Audio Experiments, and I've really enjoyed going through some of John's pedals, and probably my Swiss Army knife pedal is the Longsword, and that's
a great one.
In the background as a preamp.
Yep, good choice.
We're actually going to have him on probably not until June, but he'll be coming back on. He's been on our show several times and is obviously
a legend
in the pedal community.
We have been filling each other's pedal boards with our stuff for a few years now.
I'm sure. I think that's actually where we might have first heard about AMT. frankly, legitimately, when he did his very first 4 on the floor, maybe second, I think the delay was on that.
I think you're right.
Anyways, well, thank you for doing that. And not everybody has to. Whatever works for you is what works for you. That's kind of the beauty of this whole mess.
I think people ask me a lot of times what pedals, and they think I've got all the fancy latest glitch pedals and whatever, and I think they're surprised that even though I'm known for designing these pedals, that my personal pedal board is really just a lot of old basics.
Yeah.
That's kind of what started with Craig Anderton pedals back in the day, and then I moved up to what I have now, but it's still real basic stuff.
Well,
basics still work.
That begs the question, how in the heck did we land at these 4 pedals on our table? These 4 very comprehensive and highly thought out pedals. It's surprising. Every once in a while we do run into somebody whose own personal approach belies what they're actually producing. And I think that's probably the case here. Before we get into all of the particulars about the pedals, we would love to know where, from whence you came. How did you land making these really pro-grade pedals?
Oh, well, where do you start? Do you start at the end with my wife nagging me for years to do my own pedals, or do you start with where do you start? But I've always been in the audio business. I started designing equipment for recording studios. I was behind some of the Apogee stuff in the 90s. I worked for CDS Stereo, which was a 5.1 encoding company for the film industry, designing for them. I worked for Tascam, and it goes on and on. And eventually, somehow or another, through all these different audio companies, I ended up at Moog Music, where I was one of the engineers for 10 years. And,
wow.
There's a couple of, if you're familiar with the Mini Fogers and the Moog Fogers, and we'll just say that I've had a little bit to do with some of those pedals. And,
I see.
And we saw, my wife always got down on me because she saw the used prices for things that I made and said, if they can sell that for used, why don't you do your own? And it didn't seem like a possibility for years until it was. And here we are.
Huh. That's pretty, I mean, you just shot through a very impressive pedigree. So how does one land at Moog?
Well, Moog was in Asheville. I was in Asheville. I kind of had a who's who list of people I'd worked for. I mean, I'd been with Apogee and Synclavier. That's actually where I started, with Synclavier, New England Digital, and Tascam and Fostex and many other companies. And eventually they were interested in me, and there I went. I had some skills they wanted, and
right,
voila.
So you are familiar to an oscillator as most people are to a microwave. Is that fair to say?
There's an analogy. Oscillators and microwaves. Wow.
Kids, don't try this at home.
I'll have to think about that one some more.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Obviously, you know an awful lot about and by the way, I would encourage everybody, just go Google Hawker, and you'll get what I just said. You have not everybody's cut out for that kind of thing, and I'm always impressed by somebody that can do the creation at the deep root level like that. That's pretty awesome. May I ask, what was something valuable that you learned working with Moog?
Oh, boy, so many valuable things. I mean, I had the opportunity to look through Bob's notebook. And, when you have these people that are idols that now I've had a chance to either work with or look through their notebook, people like Tom Oberheim and Bob Moog. And we treat these people as these idols of the community. And eventually you find out they're just human and how they think. But if I take a skill from Bob really looked for simplicity and how to do things simple. And I guess I didn't get that lesson very well because I'm always looking for ways to make things more complicated. But one of the other engineers at Moog Music is Steve Dunnington, and he's really the heart and soul now of Moog Music these days in the engineering. And he taught me, don't design the pedal you want, design the pedal that that your customer wants, and really make sure you're doing that. And sometimes that I really have to think about that. Is this something I want, or is this what the community wants? And make sure that I'm reaching out to other people and not just in the vacuum of my own self, and making sure that many other people are contributing and it's not just myself.
Yeah. I think that it's interesting after hearing, almost 500 interviews. I think there's a case for both sides of that coin. A lot of what we hear is, I couldn't find the thing that I wanted, and then I made the thing that I wanted, and now this is a thing. I can't remember who said it, but it was basically like, hey, nobody was asking for Jimi Hendrix, but Jimi Hendrix showed up, and then everybody's like, this is what we want. So that you can get out there and make something that you just want. But I totally understand what you're saying. Like, I can make anything. I want to make sure that somebody really is going to be excited to play this, and that enough people are going to be excited to play it, so you can actually make them.
At some point, you have to design what people want, but that doesn't mean you can't put your own touch in it. If you look at some of our pedals and some of the features, you've got 4 of them there, and I'm sure you found some modes in there that you probably never heard before, or some sounds you wouldn't expect from that type of a pedal. And certainly, I put my touch on it and my desires and my learning, but I try to keep things really approachable. And if you just get too wild or too specialized or too niche, it maybe isn't approachable for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think kind of I'm dancing around this a little bit, but you didn't say, I'm going to create something that doesn't exist, other than you said, I'm going to take something. This is me projecting. I'm going to take a delay, and I'm going to provide the user with functionality that they can't get a whole lot of other places, if any.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of things in the past. Of course, I feel like I came to this industry that the customers have an expectation. And when you're an unknown person starting a new company, you have to say, why is, there's a million pedal companies out there. Why is someone going to buy a pedal from Asheville Music Tools?
Yeah.
And the only thing I had is that I was known for certain pedals, that I was known for modulation pedals. And yes, I have some wonderful ideas I'd like to do, but I think there's an expectation that I will do something to build on what I've done before and what people know they like. And so it's been a blessing and a curse, because I would love to do something new, but there was an expectation that I was going to do a delay. There was an expectation that I was going to do a chorus and a flanger and a phaser. And so I kind of got trapped in that. But that didn't mean I can't do something different and unique. And of course, if you look at some of my previous pedals and then you look at the new ones that I've done 10, 15 years later, they're not the same. They might be what I've learned in 15 years. But and I've kind of been trapped, though, in that there's an expectation for the pedals. And if you look at our biggest requests, they're all pedals that I've done before. People just want me to do them again and with new forms. And so hopefully one of these days we'll get past that, and then we can do something new, because, hey, a flying saucer simulator sounds pretty good to me, but I'm not known for those exactly.
Yet.
Yes.
Yet, you see.
Well, the things that you have created are no small feats, that's for sure. I mean, when Tony and I started digging into these, I just put them all on a single
pedal board.
Thank you. No, the
pedal train
things with, yeah.
No, I like the pedal train Metro 20. It's a good size board, especially for like testing and stuff. Yeah, so I put these on a board. I said, Tony, I hope you're not doing anything for the next 2 days.
Yeah, that is actually
and a
minimal amount.
Tony's
tune in, turn on, and drop out.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what we both did. And Tony doesn't just say like, "This is awesome." He doesn't say that without cause. And he came in with big eyes, and he's like,
"Oh yeah,
wow, I'm impressed."
Well, you know what I liked about all of these pedals is they are very reminiscent of pedals that I used in the 80s and 90s and beyond. And they sound, it was the sound.
Yeah.
I mean, that got me immediately. And I know you're using, Bucket Brigade chips and things like that. And that kind of ties to that's very familiar to my ear. What is different about all of these pedals is while you can get many of the, we'll call it vintage style effects, I have never messed with pedals that have so many variables.
Yeah.
And
That's
abilities.
like micro variables.
I mean, it's close to programming your own very specific sound that you can get out of all of these pedals.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a modular synthesizer and a guitar pedal. Really, it comes from that.
Yeah.
From
Well,
the-
actually, yeah. With the Moog background, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Well, and this is something we'll just get. Let's tackle the.
Start with the delay.
Let's start with the delay. This is a thing that's been mentioned on our show several times.
That's where it all started.
In our Four on the Floor. So was this the first one?
Yeah, that was. I mean, what can I say on the show? Those who know me know that I was behind the redesign of the infamous Moog 104M, and so that was the expectation that I would carry something. But the 104M isn't exactly a very guitar friendly pedal. It's a gorgeous, beautiful sounding pedal, and it's also what I came up with 15 years ago or more. I don't know, when did I design that? And so yes, we started with the delay, and that was kind of the legacy of that.
Well, the first thing that I noticed, and Tony, gave me a little bit more in-depth instruction, because I got them when I got home from work, and I had to get them to him right away. So I played them, and I didn't dive super deep into the very comprehensive instructions. And one of the things that struck me was the actual. And I think I mentioned this actually on one of our shows a few episodes back, when I was telling everybody that we were playing with these, is that the delay time, I felt like I had to go to like 2:00 before it started to get out of slapback territory.
Were you in the single bucket mode originally?
Well,
Yep.
yes. And I was like, wow. I really appreciated that, because typically you just have, one. It's kind of like you have three. I'm a simple person. I'm going to oversimplify this. It kind of is like you have three different potentiometers for the same control, in the sense that sweep usually on a normal pedal is like, if you just go from like 0 to 2, you're already out of that like slapback territory, right?
Right.
But this one, you can really dial it into exactly how you want it to feel, without saying, I don't know, I lost it already, or something like that. You can really sit in there. And I immediately thought of several friends who are really into like, rock / punkabilly and chicken picking and stuff, that I was like, wow, this would be dynamite for them.
That's surf music or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Chicken picking. It's actually quite popular with country players for that very reason.
Yeah.
You get that chicken picking kind of sound.
Yeah, because now, had I read the thing, I would understand what these little. I was like, what is that down there? Why is there only 3 buckets? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. But anyways, that's kind of but I personally like exploring, and because then I try not to come in with too much pretense. So like, oh, I know exactly what this is going to do. I know exactly where to set it to get the thing. I'm like, no, I want to explore it. Because more times than not, when you do that, you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that this could do that. That's a sound I haven't played before. Ooh, that makes me think of something. I can, make some new music with that.
Yeah, well, pedal at best is when it inspires you to do something you wouldn't normally do.
Exactly.
And, we've had a few instances, especially amongst our team, because we're all kind of in our particular music genre. And when I come in and someone's playing some music that like I've never heard them play before, and then we know the pedals inspired them to do something, and that's happened more often than I would expect, and it's really quite what's the word? It's an honor when someone is playing one of your pedals and it's inspiring them to do something they've never done before.
Yeah.
And at best, we hope that's what our pedals can do.
Well, that is something that I think is a superpower of these pedals. Because if I just said, "Hey, here's a phaser. You want to play with a phaser?" I know exactly what a phaser does. No, you don't. No, you don't. You've used one kind of phaser, essentially. So how long did this first delay take? Maybe that's a dumb question because I know that you just said that it was kind of based off of the last Moog pedal you did.
Well, it wasn't. There's really nothing in there that's directly on the Moog pedal, but I've designed a half a dozen delay pedals before I ever designed that, and so I knew what worked. I knew what didn't work. I knew what sounds I wanted to make. It was beautiful to be unrestrained to the limitations of another company, because when you're designing for other companies, you have to make something that fits into their ecosphere and their world, and you're kind of constrained by whether it's the legend of Bob Moog or the company that you're working for. And this was the first pedal I ever designed for anyone other than myself, where I didn't have those constraints. But I certainly had a lot of experience. This wasn't my first Bucket Brigade rodeo, so I don't remember how long it took. It was about a year or something like that, more or less. I'd have to look that up, but.
One of the things that I also appreciated, and it's a very, very simple thing, but a lot of times people just put all the knobs on, and you kind of have to go, okay, where's the blah blah. You put them in blocks, visual blocks, and I actually really appreciate that. You've got a delay block, you've got an LFO block, and you've got a level block. And the other thing I appreciate is that you said, this is the series of modulation pedals, so let's just continue that same user interface, which makes it much more easy to get around the pedals, because there's a lot of complexity to these things.
Exactly. Approachability is extremely important to me, and not to diss other pedal builders, but when I come up to a new pedal, I want to figure it out. I want to understand it intuitively, and I realize that my pedals are very complex and very deep, and so the best that I can do is make it organized. And so if you understand synthesis, you understand how pedals work and layout, that you can come and say, oh, here's my time base, here's my LFO section, here's my amp section, and we really try to make everything very approachable. You might look at those pedals and say, that looks vaguely similar to another line of pedals I know about. And that's just because it works that way. And so we did carry that through.
It's weirdly utilitarian for that reason. You're not...
It's boring, but it's approachable.
Yeah. Well, the music, what comes out of it isn't. That's the key. If it was boring and what it made was boring, then you might want to try the Uber.
Yeah, there's enough challenges to learning new pedals and making music. Your pedals shouldn't fight you.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about designing pedals?
What's my favorite thing? Discovering something for yourself. You think you have these ideas about what you're doing and what you're going to hear and then you discover something you didn't know, or just having it inspire you. What's my favorite? I don't even know how to answer that question. There's so many things that are favorites of mine, but it's beautiful to discover new sounds. It's beautiful to watch other people discover new sounds.
Mm-hmm. When you touched on some of these extra things that I think a lot of other people aren't doing, and that goes really outside of those main blocks. Of course, you got time, feedback, rate, amount, blah blah blah. It's everything else that Tony and I were getting familiar with. That's where we saw, like, okay, wow, these are pretty special. When you are, do you typically set out to say, okay, I know I want to have a switch that does one bucket or 2 buckets, or is it like is that a happy accident, or how does that work?
A little bit of all of the above. Obviously, I've been doing this for a long time. I can age myself and say I was building guitar pedals out of the back of Guitar Player magazine in the 70s. So I have a rough idea what I like and what works, and I played with enough things. But also, when I develop a pedal, usually I start with the development board where I have some ideas, I throw some things out, we have a prototype, and sometimes we can't decide on features, so we just throw a bunch of things out, or we have switches that, hey, let's throw this out of phase, let's feed that back this way, let's sum the feedback network this way, let's add this other type of modulation, let's put these wave shapes, and we play with it, we make a few of them, maybe 3 or 4 of them, we pass them around, and we discover what people like, and sometimes we get some happy accidents, and we find things we didn't even know we liked. There's certainly, I don't know, can we talk about other pedals here, but the Phaser is a perfect example of that. We made a giant board. There's some videos out there of what we did with, Frankenstein's lab, 1 million switches and knobs and all kinds of things. And we had an idea what we were going to do, and then we listened to all the switches and knobs and turned it in every way, and we found things we didn't even know existed, and sometimes some of those we loved more than the ideas we started out with, and that became the final product.
Yeah. Of course, we're going to talk about the rest of the pedals. So, one of the other, with that in mind, obviously you are a scientifically minded gentleman.
Perhaps, I don't know.
The fact that you said perhaps instead of maybe is for sure. But in that, I think it's you made interesting choices because I would imagine your scientific brain would say, almost approach it like a big giant synthesizer. Like, no, this has to be very specific, all the numbers and exactly what the function is. But in a lot of your controls, you're using symbols, and I found that to be really playful and inviting on something that I knew to be very complex.
Yeah, well, we have a little bit of cartoon character, and one of the things when you're sure I'm a scientific person, but I'm also a human, and I try to be a feeling person as well. And,
yes.
And music is one of those wonderful things that is that bridge between our intellectual selves and our emotional selves. And shouldn't that be in the pedal too? Yes, I can design. Yes, we can talk about JFETs and operational transconductance amplifiers, but can we also talk about how the pedal makes you feel and how it inspires you and how it connects with the soul? And I think one of the things that I love about designing pedals is working on connecting those two sides of the self and of the body, of your feeling self and your intellectual self. And there are many ways, and I think you've called on a few ways that maybe I put in there by being silly, by making some characters. But the characters have to be clear, too. If I have a random caricature, does that really tell you what's happening, or does a caricature of a bucket make you think, oh, there's 2 buckets, I bet that's twice the delay time?
Yes.
So what are we going to do in there?
I particularly love the airplane on the Phaser because that is the mode that I was like, oh man, that's it's just, I get it. It's just, it kind of it sounds like a jet taking off, like, and going past you. It's like, I just really liked that a whole lot, and that happened to be where I tried the other settings and everything. I was like, no, I like the jet. I appreciate
kind of the class that they talk about. Wasn't there a jet flanger, a jetto flanger, or what? Jet? One of those famous flangers.
Yes, it was jet. Yeah.
But so I think people talk about flangers being jet airplanes and that jet airplane sound. But again, there's 3 other modes. So we can do the classic jet airplane, but then where else can we take you? I had a wonderful experience a couple weeks ago, and I was demoing the Phaser to someone who wasn't really a pedal user, and he was trying to understand. And I said, well, here, we'll start in classic mode. And we went on jet. And then we flipped it down to the bottom switch in one of the other modes. And he looked at me and he said, that's Joe Walsh. And of course, it's not how Joe Walsh would make he was referring to the crybaby, or the talkbox sound. And of course, that's not how Joe Walsh made that. But yet, that was what it inspired in him. And so that's kind of where the symbols come from.
I see. Yeah, that's excellent. And you got all your different wave stuff in there. All that is to say is that, to your point, I do feel like you kept somebody who was not familiar with your pedals. You kept somebody like myself in mind so that when I did get it, I wouldn't be completely lost, but I might be a bit mystified, intrigued, and hopefully inspired. I know people read the manual. Definitely read the manual. It will help you, and so you're not confounded. But I just burst into these things and just had a go at them. And just I'm going to see what happens. Tony was a little bit more scientific with it.
I tried to be. I mean, I at least tried to glance through and read suggestions and what the knobs do and different things like that before I just start twiddling things.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, maybe we should turn the tables. What's something you discovered in one of those pedals that you didn't expect?
Well, Todd asked me which one I spent the most time with, and it was actually the phaser. And typically, I'm not a very strong phaser person.
We've talked about that, but there's good reason for that. Is because the phasers that we have all grown up with, you just turn it on, it's like, well, there's the phaser. It's like I've always disliked that, and this kills that.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you so many different. I mean, well, for one thing, I started monkeying around with the in the little block down below. There's the drive and stages.
Yeah.
The stages, it's like a 12 position. No, I don't know. I mean,
rotary switch.
It's a rotary switch, and honestly, I was just like kind of shocked at the differences that each of those positions created. But yeah, I mean, this is, if you're looking for like a total workhorse phaser, and you can like I said before, you can recreate some of the classic sounds.
Yeah,
phase 45, 90, or even 100, and but it goes so much further beyond that.
But when you do that, you're like, there's that thing.
Yeah.
I like the idea that this is like there's more that can be done than everybody's done for ages and ages with the phaser.
Yeah. So there you have it.
Yeah. Well, and Tony, you just said, oh, if you're looking for a phaser, what I personally like about these is like I almost wish they weren't called those things, frankly, because. We know what those are. And if someone said, hey, you want a phaser? I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm like, oh, no, or else I'll just sound like, Eddie, or I'll sound like, and whatever jam band comes to your mind or something like that. But if you said, hey, do you want a little bit of movement in your chorus or in your solo, or do you want something that kind of gives it a little bit extra mood? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what these do.
It's a mood pedal.
That's dangerously close to something else.
Yeah, well, a letter here, a letter there.
Yes,
nobody.
Yeah, well, there's so many. I mean, there's sound sculpting devices, right? And,
yeah, that's really what it is.
All the pedals start with the basics. We make sure you can do the basic sounds, but then we go from there. And what else can you do? You can. The idea of all the controls on our pedals is that, yes, we can do the basics, but the knobs go beyond the basic range. And all those places that might not sound good, might make you discover something else. And some of the other pedal designs will stop so that you only get the sweet sounds. But you might discover some great stuff outside of the range too. And we make sure to give those ranges and some of the other options. I think the phaser is a wonderful example. Because I too was not a phaser user, and I had to design something I was willing to use, and we could talk about specifics in there, but we got an awful lot of weird sounds in there that are absolutely not associated with phasers.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I have an analogy that I would like to share. So in my day job, I have to present creative to clients constantly. And one of the things that I share with people who are just starting off, like that have just hired or something like that, we talk about being in the room with somebody, a client. And when if you have somebody on your team presenting, I say, where are you putting your attention? And they say, well, on the presentation. I'm like, no. Put your attention on the person who's being presented to. So you read their body language. You pay attention to how they're reacting. You look for opportunities that, like, oh, that looked, you seem to get intrigued there. Tell me more about why, or there's something I got a feeling like maybe you didn't like that or something. And they take that to be perceptive, but then you start a conversation that is not necessarily about the thing that you're seeing. And I will call that like the in between the lines, the stuff in between the lines. We can all read the lines, but when you get the stuff in between the lines, that's when you really start getting more information. You start getting a conversation, a dialogue going. You both start to feel more invested in what's going on. And that's what these kind of feel like to me. Where I don't like, yes, I know what a phaser is. Yes, I know what a flanger is. But this is filling in the.
You think you know what a phaser or flanger is?
But I
start playing these.
But that's why I think that these are different, because it isn't. It doesn't just stop there. It fills in the information that we weren't talking about or that I wasn't aware of. Mm-hmm. That's what I really like about these.
Yeah. We have in the clone, it seems like so much of the pedal world is cloning the classics. And the classics are great. That's why they're the classics. But there's all the things that those designers didn't put in for whatever reason. We have the luxury today of we can put a lot of complexity in a pedal and still make it affordable. And back in the giant through-hole days, if they did that, it would have been the size of my desk. So,
yeah.
And it's not that way now, right? We have all these tiny little parts, and we can add this complexity that we couldn't. And when you're just making clones, you're just doing the same thing we've been doing since, Jimi Hendrix's Univibe or whatever. And it's not that. This isn't your daddy's phaser or your daddy's phase. One of the reviewers when we did it said, this isn't your daddy's Phase 90. And that was
that's absolutely true.
And so we had the opportunity to do more than just clone pedals, right? We can start looking for new sounds, which is exactly how this came out. We had this Frankenstein development board, and we discovered. Did you know that a single stage phaser is a high pass filter and that it can sound like a spaghetti western movie or a vibrato? I didn't know that when I started designing this, but I know that now, and so we have that sound in there. Did you know that a 3-stage phaser with an envelope follower can make an incredible univibe replacement? Or not univibe, excuse me. I didn't do the line right, but a 3-stage phaser can do. Boy, now I'm having some CRS. The Jerry Garcia pedal, the Mutron.
Oh yeah.
And there's a funk machine in that phaser doing Mutron 3 with the envelope follower and 3-stage following, 3-stage envelope follower, and. Who would have thought that's a phaser sound? But it is, and it's definitely a phaser. But it's in a way that most people haven't heard it before.
Yeah. I think given some of the options and complexities of all these pedals, you mentioned Mutrons, and man, they that's one thing that came to mind when I was playing around with them. I said, wow, because you can get sounds that really approach those types of things, and it is. Literally sitting there and playing with it
but it does so much more.
Yeah, you can't do it for 5. You can't just say I like this in 5 minutes.
No,
this is,
Well, you can if you recognize the potential for things that you don't know that you don't even know you may want.
Well,
and that's why we have the manual with the presets too. We try to show people and step them through a bunch of different sounds and a bunch of different things and help. Bring you, if you're not comfortable with this or you haven't worked with a pedal of this complexity, that's what the presets in our manual for. And you notice they start out with the basics, and then we try to tweak one thing at a time and bring you to the next sound.
That is very helpful, and I did revert to that.
How these controls work together, and sometimes it's a little more fluid than others, but that's how we try to help you understand what's happening.
Yeah. What's one of the harder things about what you do?
What's one of the harder things about what I do?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm a perfectionist, and letting go of these things is definitely hard. Being inspired, sometimes even, you get something, and some of those pedals, we would get them to 90%, and then but they weren't right. They weren't ready to release, and you're just beating your head and thinking and trying to figure out, or just knowing you have to walk away from it sometimes, and you can't just work on it and finish it. You're at 90% and it's not working, and no amount of putting the pedal to the floor is going to make it happen. You just have to walk away from it until you have one of those inspired in the shower moments, and you say, "Aha, I know what to try," and or you just try something. And that's really hard on me. Is I'm just too much of a perfectionist sometimes on these.
I'm so glad you said the shower thing, because actually, when we were talking about what's in our music world this week, I had a list of things, and I've referenced shower inspirations so many times on this show, and I do it at my job too, because I say, if we have
you have a shower installed at your new office, right? Just for that, so you can generate ideas.
Indeed. I don't know what it is about that.
Is it the shower, or is it that combination of no caffeine, not enough sleep, and I'm still in a daze? But it's absolutely where some of my best design ideas and my best problem solving
There's something about it. Yes. And if we get a creative brief, I'm like, okay, let's read the creative brief, go home, take a shower, maybe take another one, come back tomorrow, and we'll start doing some ideating. It works. There's something about it. I completely agree with that.
Cleansing of the mind and body.
I'm glad I'm not on Shower Island anymore.
I think it just takes you in a different headspace, right? And in order to be creative, in order to come up with new ideas, you have to get out of the normal thinking in your normal headspace. And it's a space that you're not in. Maybe you're a little tired. Maybe you're not breathing right because the room's steamed up, and it gets you in a different place. And
yeah,
that's the creativity.
That's good. What are if we're gonna just kind of touch on each of these as we're starting to round third, but I would love to know what your favorite element about each of these pedals are, because you took care to design them, and Tony is like, "Oh, well, did you try the blame?" I'm like, "No, I didn't. Well, I did, because I didn't read the manual yet, but I was getting there.
You were getting there.
But it's chock full of these things. For the delay, what is your favorite aspect of this pedal?
Oh, well, the delay has... The ADG1 really is the two features that I thought were missing in all my other delays. None of the other delays I mentioned have the 1-2 bucket switch, or if you have an SE, it's a 1-3 bucket switch. And I thought that was really important because, while I love long reverberant delays, I also like some nice tight delays and slapbacks. And I think a lot of long delays can't do those sounds well because they don't switch to 2 buckets. And I also want... sometimes I want my repeats to fold under and not be in the way, and so that each delay kind of folds under in the background. But sometimes I want to bring them up and have them excite, what they call that tape delay. And so none of the delays that I designed before had a tone control. And this has a tilt tone, so it's a single knob, nice and easy to use. But I can change that. Instead of just having a static delay repeat, I can have it fold under what I'm playing, or I can bring it out. So each repeat becomes more and more present, or less and less present. And those are probably my two favorite features of the delay.
Okay. And let's address the AFG1.
The AFG1. Oh, well, that's an interesting story in many ways. So the inspiration for the AFG1 started out as the ADA flanger, if you're familiar with that flanger.
Yeah.
And the AFG1 really is 3 different flangers to start with. So the ADA has a reverse phase mode, and it gives us this nice vocal deep body that really no other flanger has. And so you talked earlier about the jet, and we'll just call them out. The top switch is a jet airplane, so we call it the jet sound. And the middle one is a swirl. And the bottom one is a phase symbol. So the top mode is your basic classic flanger, your MXR 117 or whatever. And the bottom mode is a reverse phase, and that harkens from the ADA, the ADA flanger. And So that was a really important feature. And the middle one is the swirl mode, and that is a mode in the cluster flux, the 108M, which is also a product of mine. And so that's kind of that voicing. And it's really not an EQ voicing. It's definitely a feedback and way. But the other thing that's really important about the flanger to me is when I played flanger, I always had an expression pedal in, and I would use my foot kind of like a crybaby, and I would modulate it with my foot, and I'd get that vocal sound, especially in reverse. And I'm a pretty lazy engineer, so I got tired of slamming on that pedal, and I thought, well, this thing needs an envelope follower. And so that's what we added in. We had an envelope followed reverse flanging sound to get that vocal kind of talkback sound.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really the two big features that I really felt I needed. I always wanted to design a flanger with an envelope filter, and I'm not sure if anyone's done that before, to be honest. But that's what I wanted in here, and that's what we got.
Okay, you said you weren't a phaser guy before you built this pedal. What do you like? What's your favorite aspect of the APH-12 phaser?
Well, I've just come to love the odd phase symbols, the out of phase. I love the 1, 3s, and 5s, and there's a sound and a quality in single stage, in 3 stages, and in 5 stages. Because I'm not that into the swirly phaser sound, and if that's all this did, especially 12-stage phasing to me sounds incredible on a Wurlitzer, but on a guitar, it's almost too much sometimes. But we knew we had to do a 12-stage phaser because, unfortunately, I have this legacy I have to fulfill. So we knew we had to have 12 stages. And in fact, when we designed this, we thought, so we're going to feature all those high stage counts because not a lot of people do them. We'll make sure we have 10s and 11s and 12s and 8s and all that kind of stuff. But we loved the 1s and the 3s and the 5s, and I don't think we'd heard that before. So that was really the magic and what can come out of the sounds, because they're not phaser sounds people expect.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yes, indeed.
And then
of course we had to throw an envelope follower in there.
Well, of course you do. Okay, how about the chorus?
Last time, why not?
How about the chorus vibrato, the ACV-1? What do you like on that?
Well, that's just one of those sweetening pedals, and it works best when you don't even know it's there until you turn it off, and then you say, "Wow, my." If you ever played like a BBE pedal, or you're familiar with the infamous sonic maximizers, and that's not what we're doing at all. But it's in that vein where I don't know what it's doing, but it just sounds better, right? And so I love just livening things up with a little bit of modulation. But I also, if you remember at the beginning of the show, I talked about loving some of those bass pedals and the Pog and the B9 and the Leslie. It's not a Leslie, but it's a Leslie, and getting some of those vibrato Leslie sounds, and I call it Sunday go to morning, go to church kind of sounds. And but the other thing I really like is that. Choruses, there's not a lot of choruses that give you control over the delays and the feedback. And so you can have that tight 80s shimmery chorus sound, but you can also have that drippy, reverberant type chorus sound. And it's just a twist of the knob. And we had a lot of fun with the time modulation, the time warping concept in this pedal, and getting all those, just a twist to the left and seeing what you can do.
So you have an expression pedal input on this. I'm imagining that you could.
All of them.
Well, yeah, actually, it is on all of them. I imagine on the ACV-1, you can really do kind of a rotary speaker simulation using an expression pedal, right?
Sure, that's exactly what I use it for the most time. And either with the rate or the amount control, you can do that speeding up Hammond sound, that Leslie sound, speeding it up and slowing it down, or you can really dial it in and get that strong swirling sound, and then use the amount control on the expression to, when you need to lay it in thick with the pedal, and then back it off when it's time to let that go away.
Nice.
A lot of good thinking in there.
So I'm wondering, I've been to Asheville, and it is absolutely beautiful there. Does that have a major impact on your design and creativity? The surroundings.
Well, that's a good question. I don't, I'm sure in ways I haven't really thought of, but I love this town. I came here because I'm an avid backpacker and an avid hiker, and I love the scenery, and I love the smaller ways and some of the laid back. I love going to the small towns around here, and I'm sure that factors into my life. Certainly, some of the music I listen to and whatnot. But maybe what do they say here? They say altitude affects attitude is one of the Asheville phrases.
That's true.
And maybe that's it. That the altitude just gets to your brain a little bit. And
yeah.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. So, you were talking about that you are hoping to maybe work on some new stuff. Is that the case?
Oh, well, I mean, we're always working on new stuff here, and some of it will come out, and some of it will just be a bad idea, I discover. But, yeah, I've always got 3 or 4 ideas. Well, maybe more than 3 or 4 ideas, but I've always got maybe 2, 3 things that I'm kind of working on at the same time. And if one isn't inspiring me, I might move to the other one, or maybe while I'm waiting for a prototype to come in, I might move to the other one. So definitely got a few things going on. I know there's been a lot of, we're talking about the ACV1, and we did a new old stock version where we retuned it. So one of the things we're doing now is small batch pedals. We have our main line of right now just 4 pedals, and then we have the small batch versions where we've tweaked them, added a few extra features. Some people remember the ADG SE is a very popular small batch pedal, and then we had the ACV NOS. So we're getting ready to release another batch of NOSs sometime soon, and we have some other small batch ideas that we're working on as well. And so that's happening. We kind of do those to keep things going while we work on some bigger projects, because the big projects take a year or 2 to come out.
And is one of those in the oven right now?
Well, there might be. I don't know. Do you have security clearance for this question?
Yeah, probably not. But
he's not.
I will say, come on out to the pedal shows. There's all these great shows that are happening all over the country here and there. I get to some of them. Some of our folks get to some of them. And sometimes we have little teasers on there. You never know when you might find one of our prototype boards out there you can play with, or something coming up. And we're not going to talk about them until they're real, but you might come to a show and try something in the very early stages, and you might even get your feedback. We went to a show in Raleigh when we were, I'd say the phaser was at 75-80%, and we went out and we got some incredible feedback. And what a way to have all these people with all these different musical tastes and musical styles, and to see how they connect with the pedal and what they need and where they're using it. And it's a kind of that's how we do some of our research, and it's a great way to be a part and have your thoughts become part of our future designs. Love it.
Great idea. Go out, rub the elbows. What'd you call it? Bump the elbows? No,
you
rub the elbows.
Rub elbows, or you can bump the elbows too.
Well, that's the thing. That was the thing for a while. I'm glad we're past that.
But yeah, come on out and meet the makers, and it's really a great opportunity to discover new things. And what a fine group of people! Some of the I love that the pedal world is a community, and we support each other, and we're not, there's some industries that are very competitive and the other companies are your competition, but no, we don't really see that. I'm discovering the pedal communities, and what a joy it is that there's so much love, and that people create a community and share and support each other. So come on out and support the people that are creating the pedals. We support each other, and it's a great way to discover what's out there.
Nice.
Draw some things on.
I love it. And that is one of the cool things that's becoming more and more prominent in our cities. Is like, it seems like every state's got a handful of pedal show, little pedal get-togethers. Actually, the Baltimore one is, I think, just about to happen or just happened, one of the two. But that stuff's great. And you know what? If you don't see something like that and you want to see something like that, just make it. Just make that happen. Just connect with a local brewery and say, hey, can we come here and do a little thing? That's a big thing in Columbus.
Oh, yeah.
We got Pedals and Pints. And it's been fantastic. Just go.
It seems to be a regional thing. I'm noticing there's a lot. It seems like out west, and there's a lot in the Midwest, and then New England, of course. But here we are in the Southeast, and there's not a lot of them down here yet for whatever reason. And I don't know what parts of the country they are and aren't. And again, I'm just learning this. I've always been the behind the scenes guy they don't want to show, and now I get the chance to be.
Yes, the mad scientist.
Yeah, becoming Colonel Sanders or something like that. And to those that don't know, reference.
12 spices.
Yeah. Well, to those that don't know the reference, that was another Bob Moog thing. Bob Moog used to say, "I don't want to be Colonel Sanders." He didn't like that he was the face of the company, but in this world, you all have to kind of be Colonel Sanders, I guess.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, it has been an absolute delight getting to know, getting to know you a little bit better. The whole thing about why we do the show is we want to make sure that people feel like they get to know the builder and feel a connection and get enlightened about some things that they can be excited about. And we certainly got that from you today. So much appreciated.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me on here. It's been an honor, and I hope people find some value. And it's a little weird sometimes that people want to listen to you. I just am the nerd back here soldering circuit boards. That people are interested in what I do is such an honor, and I'm so grateful that people enjoy what I'm doing. And thank you for having me on the show.
Of course. We do have one more thing here that needs your participation. This is...
Let me get a little bit of this.
No, that's the wrong one.
Nope.
Yeah.
Would you rather?
Yes.
That's the one.
The great Would You Rather.
Would you rather? A little game we play.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now.
Oh, this won't hurt a bit.
It's Stump the Chump.
Well, Hawker, since you are an avowed deadhead.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, for me, because I'm completely clueless.
There's my deadhead creds. Uh-oh.
Deadhead cred. He's got deadhead cred.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, you may have noticed.
I don't remember any of that anymore.
Well,
that proves it.
Yes, you definitely have cred. You may remember
on this bus.
couple of weeks ago, Jerry Garcia's Tiger guitar sold for about $11.5 million on the
sakes.
Jim Irsay collection auction. Well, we don't. Our pockets aren't that deep.
$11 million.
$11.5 million.
$11.5 million.
Yes.
Wow.
That's a lot
of
of money.
$11 million in like a house in most places.
Now, sadly, just a little background on that. Jim Irsay got that guitar for under $1 million.
Wait, didn't he buy it for Derek Trucks?
No.
Okay, but Derek Trucks was sitting.
Yeah, my understanding is he bought it for the community. He bought it because he wanted people to play it, and Derek Trucks was one of the first people to get to play it.
Got it.
Yes.
I think Warren Haynes perhaps got it later, if I remember right. But
well, anyhow, so
are we here? The power went out again.
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you fine.
Okay.
So the guy that bought it at the auction, his name is Bobby Zeitlin.
Okay.
And his intention is to keep it as an active instrument, and that's why Derek Trucks has been playing it a bit, and I'm sure he'll rotate it around to a few other folks.
Yeah, kind of like the Greenie.
Yeah, sort of like that.
Yeah.
Well, here at the Guitar Knobs, our pockets aren't quite that deep.
You don't say.
You don't say. So, while you'd like to have something that's reminiscent of a Grateful Dead guitar, we have to be reasonable. So, would you rather getting a D'Angelico Premier DC? It's the Grateful Dead model. It's red, white, and blue with the lightning bolt. And Bob Weir was an actually he loved these D'Angelico guitars. And you have that option, or option B is our friend Mike Robinson over at Eastwood Guitars actually makes a Tiger replica.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you don't got a lot of money, but you'd like to have something like that. So would you rather have the D'Angelico red, white, and blue lightning bolt guitar?
I got to look at this.
Let's think of it like a ES335.
Okay.
You can look it up.
Who wouldn't want an ES335? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
that's what it is.
why wouldn't you? Or would you rather have the Eastwood Tiger replica? You want me to go first?
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, I got you now. Oh. Okay, this is rough. This is a tough tough one. Well, there's a whole bunch of different models.
Well, I'm talking about the DC, the double cut.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, now, did the Tiger guitar, is that the one with all the, a million knobs and switches and 4 cables coming out the back? And I don't know what all they had going on.
Well, Jerry's, yes, because that was all Alembic put all kinds of crazy stuff in there on his particular one. But the Eastwood one is not quite as complicated, but it maintains the shape and the styling and the pickup configuration and that sort of thing. So as for me, I think I'm going to have to go with the Tiger guitar. I think it's a really cool looking, it's got a very unique shape, and not that I'm a huge Deadhead myself, but I think that's a damn cool instrument. So I'm going with the Eastwood Tiger. Put me down for one.
Okay. Yeah, it's something. It's something. What are you going to do here, Hawker?
Oh boy! Well, you've got geek versus style, and how do you got to choose left brain or right brain? It sounds like I'm intrigued by the beauty of the Tiger guitar. I'm intrigued by what the heck was Jerry doing and how did he create those sounds, but you had me at 335. I mean, at the end of the day, I haven't seen either of these, but I think sometimes the soul is going to win over the geek, and I think the other one sounds a lot more intriguing to me.
Okay, Todd, what about you?
Definitely not going to take the Tiger on more reasons than I can count. But I mean, I appreciate it for what it is, in the sense that it is, this was an artist's singular creation, who, wanted all that stuff. It looks oddly like a 70s coffee table that I've, but anyways, yeah, I'm going with the
red, white, blue lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm on Tony Island once again.
You are.
I'm used to it.
I wouldn't know what to do with that, and it's too close to an SG, which I just can't.
Oh, you and your.
I can't play them, man. I can't do it. I've tried super old, the 60s versions and all kinds of stuff, and I'm just like, they don't.
Is it the tone that doesn't work, or just the way it's weighted and balanced, and it just feels weird in my hand?
It's the feel, and I just can't. I don't know. It just doesn't work with me. Same thing with the Strat, which most of our listeners know. It's like both those things are like kryptonite to me. So I don't. They're not for me. I know they're for everybody else.
There's a new would you rather.
What?
SG or Strat?
Oh, no. No. That's
maybe a combination of Strat G.
Yeah, no, let's not do that. Although I think that's kind of what this might, to a degree. Anyways, well, thank you, Tony, for coming up that one on the fly. That was very clever of you. There's first time for everything. So we need to thank you. We need to say a few thanks to the people that support not only our show, but builders like Hawker. Tony?
Yes, Todd. At this point of the show, there are a number of people we'd like to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer helps make this show possible. How do you become an executive producer? You head over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs and check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a sponsor, a friend, a hero of the podcast. Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win great stuff and just that general warm feeling you get in your heart from supporting something that you love. So special thanks to these executive producers. Anthony Lathrop, Brett Hoke. Oh, before I start reading names,
you get to have your name read on the thing.
That's right. You get to have your name read on the thing. That's the one more thing.
Good thing I'm here, Tony.
Oh, thank you, Todd. I almost forgot. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers: Anthony Lathrop, Brett Hogarth, Cameron Pampas, Darren Gregory, Don Kloss, Elad Mizrahi, James Bell, James White, John Esterly from Rare Buzzer FX, John Sebastian, John Halverson, Justin Jones, Ken Sayers, Michael Senchuk, Mike Davenport, Owen Eads, Pluton, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology, Richard Kendall, Rick Calhoun, Rusty Sneeden, Stefan Lamb, Tom Barazin, Trevor Ellenberg, Trevor Gunberg, Vader and Pedals, Caribou Gone, Ed Rossler, Uday Ram, Andrew, I can't say it today, Andrew Fryatt, and Bob Clamier.
Fantastic.
Yes, Todd, but there's more. Because there's a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These are the top of the heap, the creme de la creme, the A number ones. And they wear a fez upon their head whilst listening to the podcast.
Yep.
I'm told that.
We send them out.
Yes, we send them out.
That's a real thing.
And they are required to wear it.
Yep.
So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Anthony Jamalero, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Bob Crouch, Brian Robison, Cody Foster, David Kaminga, David Tyndall, Enrico Fernando, Fox Hill Studio, Gregory Randall, Hex Matos, John Williams, Martin Cliff, Matt Hart, Michael Van Zant, Michio Murakishi, Moon Guitars, Pedro Vasquez, Sam Jett, Steve Keys, James Pennington, Zach Oswald from Brandon Wound Pickups, Jonathan Labate from M2 Labs, Ty Barnes, James Castellano, and Kenny Howe.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be joining us in a couple of weeks.
That's correct. Thank you all, one and all, for your support. You're hearing a lot about what we're doing for our supporters as a result of the 10th. But guess what? We also have a 500 episode thing coming up later on this year. So
teaser alert.
Yeah. I mean, if you've been thinking about it, if you're on the fence, get off the fence and jump in. The water's fine.
Yes.
We'd appreciate you very much.
No sharks here.
All right, Hawker. We need to say a colossal thank you to sharing your time and also investing your super brain into some really fantastic pedals.
Well, thank you very much. I'm honored to be on the show, and I appreciate you having me here.
You bet.
Where can our listeners go find and purchase some of this great stuff that you offer?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Of course, you can start on our website, AshevilleMusicTools.com, but I think our pedals speak for themselves. They say sell for themselves. So we have many dealers all over the country, all over the world. In fact, you can go to our website and look at the dealers or ask your favorite dealer. If you have a shop that you like, chances are they're working with our distributor. And if you want to hear them, let them know and tell them you want to see our pedals. But you can look at our dealer list. You can check them out online. You can look on YouTube and Google Asheville Music Tools or ADG1, APH12, ACV1, or AFG1, and see what other people have done with our pedals. And, of course, there's the forums as well, where people talk about them and let our customers sell the pedals, not me.
Man, you did that like an absolute pro. That's usually where everybody starts stumbling. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Tony, what about yourself?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out the stuff that I do. What do? I make pick guards for guitars.
Yes.
How do you get one? Shoot me an email. Let me know what you need, what you're trying to do, what pickups you're using, what guitar you have, what material you want, all the whats. I'll make something special for you. Mm-hmm. As Todd likes to say, it's your opportunity to make your guitar even more yours.
Correctamundo. All right, you can shoot me a DM on Instagram, at Guitar Knobs. I always mess that up. Obviously, that's one word. We would love to hear from you. Go ahead and share your thoughts. I was fortunate enough to have a handful of great conversations this weekend, and it just helps us tie the room together, so to speak. So please do that. And beyond that, ladies and gentlemen, keep staying tuned on the Instagrams for the things that we're rolling out for our 10th anniversary. Be good to each other. Be positive. Stay positive, I should say. And have a fantastic guitar week. Subscribe! Why? That's too many. It's too many. It's too many. And wait, are you still there?
I'm still, well, I'm not all here, of course.
He's mostly here.
Mostly there, yes.
I'm mostly dead. Maybe some of those weird things will make you read the manual.
Yeah. I'll get there.
16 pages of fluff on the.
Yeah. Okay, Hawker, if you hear me clap, that's just giving me a little mark on my timeline to make an edit. We do edit this.
I hope so.
Yes. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.